11 people have been jailed after a crime family responsible for pushing millions of pounds worth of drugs onto the streets of Manchester was dismantled. Police say the organised crime group, which included a 72-year-old woman nicknamed Grandma and a father and son meth-making duo, thought they were untouchable. The final members of the organised crime gang were sentenced for their part in the conspiracy. It follows a complex investigation by Greater Manchester Police, which uncovered a large-scale drugs conspiracy thought to be supplying drugs across the North West and North Wales. In 2021, Greater Manchester Police's Serious Organised Crime Group launched an investigation into James Mulligan, who at the time was at the head of an organised crime group suspected to be supplying drugs across the northwest of England and North Wales. Beneath him, he had a string of associates who each had their own role to play. However, over time, the gang got too comfortable with their patterns and routines, which ultimately led police to their doors. Keenan and Batty were second in command and would transport and collect the drugs, supplying them to Gemma, Graysdale and Woodhouse, who would then sell the drugs to the customers. Sheila Mason, a woman James Mulligan called Grandma, was in control of the stash house in Droylsden. As the investigation developed, police uncovered more and more individuals suspected to be linked to James Mulligan and the gang, including Brian Mulligan Sr. and Jr., his father and brother, a father and son responsible for supplying heroin and producing amphetamine. Lower down the chain, McGough, Altham, and Hamlet Carley would sell the drugs to customers. During a period of surveillance between April and October 2021, police from Manchester, Merseyside, and West Yorkshire made a number of arrests and seizures when the gang were caught couriering the drugs, firearms, and cash across the country. On Wednesday, the 28th of April, Keenan and Mulligan were intercepted by armed police on their way back from Liverpool. Inside the car, police recovered a handgun stashed in the glove compartment, around 25k in cash, and 2 burner phones. Following no-comment interviews, the men were released under investigation, but it didn't take long until they were back up and running, selling multi-kilos of drugs across the country. This brazen criminality either meant they thought they were in the clear and had convinced police of their innocence, or their motivation to make vast amounts of money outweighed the risk of being caught again. On Saturday, the 1st of May 2021, a surveillance operation was underway at Mulligan Sr.'s property on Treehouse Avenue. An individual, later identified to be Katrina Barton, was seen leaving the address with a carrier bag and getting into a car. Later that day, police from Durham Constabulary's Road Police Unit stopped this car and recovered 2 blocks of heroin and 3 kilos of bulking agent, with Mulligan Sr.'s DNA on the packaging containing heroin. 2 women were interviewed in connection to this, and in October 2021, Katrina Barton was rearrested and charged. On Thursday, the 1st of July, Mulligan's associate, Cebu Njema, was intercepted by police on his way to North Wales, where they recovered over 10,000 worth of cannabis and a bag of cocaine with an estimated street value of around 17,000. On the 12th of August 2021, Brian Mulligan Jr. was also under surveillance by police for his involvement in the conspiracy, where he was seen travelling to Bradford, West Yorkshire, with Altham and Hamlet Clawley. Following an exchange of a parcel the group were intercepted by Greater Manchester Police's Roads Policing Unit, where they found 1 kilo of heroin. Forensic analysis of the packaging linked the men to the heroin, and cell site analysis and ANPR showed the men made frequent trips to Bradford. On Thursday, the 2nd of September, after James Mulligan was seen to meet Woodhouse to exchange a parcel, Woodhouse was stopped by police in Merseyside, where he admitted being in possession of drugs. Police recovered a bag of cannabis and 2 blocks of cocaine. On Tuesday, the 21st of September 2021, police executed a warrant at a flat on Welbeck Street South in Tameside to arrest father and son, Brian Sr. and Brian Jr. Despite Brian Jr. trying to flee his flat into a neighbouring property of an elderly gentleman, he was detained by officers. Brian Sr. accepted his fate, choosing to remain in the apartment, whilst McGough, who was also present, tried to escape over a balcony. It became clear that the flat was not being lived in, rather it was being used purely to produce controlled drugs on an industrial scale, capable of producing hundreds of kilos of amphetamine a month. In the living room, police found PPE clothing, including full hazmat suits and protective gloves. In further rooms, police found vacuum packs containing a white substance, large plastic packing crates, and mixing bowls. There were also large drums containing chemicals used in the production of amphetamine. In total, police recovered around 50 kilos of amphetamine and 50 litres of chemicals used in the production. Later that month, on Wednesday the 25th of September, police had enough evidence to execute a warrant at Sheila Mason's house, aka Grandma, in Droylsden. After a search of the property, police seized ammunition and drugs paraphernalia, including packaging consistent with the wrapping of cocaine, electronic scales with residues of cocaine, caffeine, paracetamol, and levomisole, a drug used to treat parasites in animals. When questioned, Miss Mason tried to convince police she didn't know what ammunition was, and was bewildered as to know how it got in her shed. When denying her involvement, Mason said, "Cross my heart and hope to die." On Thursday, the 30th of September, Hamlet Clawley and Haltham were both arrested at home despite offering no comment interviews. They both were charged that day. On Wednesday, the 13th of October, police executed a number of warrants and made a series of arrests of people suspected to be involved in the conspiracy. Mulligan, Keenan and Batty were all arrested at their home addresses in the early hours. Detective Inspector Justin Bryant from the GMP's Serious Organised Crime Group said, "This was a really complex investigation which started with 8 suspects but soon developed into tracking 13 members of an organised crime group, unveiling an extensive criminal network responsible for supplying large quantities of drugs and weapons to trades that fuel intimidation and exploitation in the Manchester and across the UK. This gang thought they were untouchable. They only cared about lining their pockets, and the scale of drugs they were involved in will have undoubtedly contributed to serious violence and depravation in our communities." The sentences handed down mark the culmination of an extensive investigation and years of hard work by the officers and colleagues at the Crown Prosecution Service, who have worked tirelessly to piece together the complex evidence to secure these sentences. Nicky Moore, Senior Crown Prosecutor with CPS North West's Complex Casework Unit, said, "Motivated purely by greed, these offenders were involved in a sophisticated criminal operation to produce and supply drugs across the Northwest and beyond. Working side by side with GMP's serious and organised crime group, we are able to meticulously unravel the full extent of their criminal activity and build a strong case to bring these offenders to justice. Working closely with the police, we are determined to dismantle major organised crime groups like this one. Please like this video, please comment, and I would love it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.